Welcome back, everybody, to Hair Smarter, where we give you what hair school forgot to.
Yeah, it's the real stuff, the conversations that actually make you better behind the chair and in your career.
Let's say something that might make people a little uncomfortable.
A lot of stylists right now aren't building careers.
Yeah, they're building audiences.
Yep. And that's not the same thing.
Today, we're going to break down the difference, okay? And why chasing visibility without a strong foundation can actually slow down your growth. All right, cool. So let's jump into it, right? Let's talk about the social media shift. So,
Mhm.
social media completely changed this industry.
Yeah. So before, your reputation lived inside the salon, right? And
Mm.
now it lives online first.
And you know what? That's not a bad thing. Like, there's no right or wrong here, but it has changed what people prioritize.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's like the social validation and the dopamine loops, right? There's a lot of
Mm.
research around media and behavior, especially this idea of dopamine driven feedback.
Yeah. So that's where your brain starts to associate likes, views, and engagement with success.
Yeah. Because every time something performs well, you get that reward response.
Even if it has nothing to do with how strong your work actually is behind the chair.
Yeah. So your focus shifts.
From is this good work to will this perform? You can go viral and still not be good behind the chair.
Scary.
Yeah. So, I want to share something that to make it make a little bit more sense, right? So, a couple of weeks ago, a client of mine had asked me to do her wedding at the end of May. And I was like, great. And so she brought in all these reference pictures. And there was one that was like a really, really beautiful bun. And it kind of like the way that it looked, I was like, oh, wow, that's really beautiful. And I'm pretty good at like problem solving that stuff. But I literally tried to do it like four different ways and could not get it to look the way it did in the picture, which is kind of interesting because normally I can look at a picture and be like, "Oh, yeah, it's this, and this technique put together," but I couldn't figure it out. So there's this one other girl in the salon, Patrice, who does a lot of weddings, and I was like, "Okay, maybe let me just ask her." So I asked her and I was like, "Hey, look at this picture. Like, how would you do this?" And she looked at it and she's like, "Oh, well, that wouldn't look really good in real life." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "No, it wouldn't look very good in real life. Like, it's really the camera angle and like this side of the bun looks good, but the other side of it, if you think about it, probably doesn't look that great. You can see all the seams and all that sort of stuff." And like my whole entire mind like just did this big like flip over itself. And I was like, holy fuck, she's right. Like it really was about the camera angle and how it was capturing it just at the right space with the right light and all of those things. And I was like, oh my God, yeah. So I actually, long story long at this point, but I actually asked the client to come back in for another trial to explain to her, hey, I don't think this is going to work. This is why, and we came up with a different look. So, I mean, sometimes the things that you see online or a picture or whatever, it really is about lighting and angles and all of those things. It's not IRL, as they say
Yeah,
in
yeah,
real
so
life.
true.
That's what the
It's
young ones call it.
so true. Yeah, they're just developed and made especially to look good in the photo. So crazy. Yeah, I mean, this also applies to I feel like the following the trend on social media. So you're like picking the video and the stuff that's going viral and trying to copy that, but it may not even be who you are behind the chair or what
Oh,
you
it's a
do
great
behind the
point.
chair. So you have to be very careful with that. I feel like, because then you're also not bringing the right people into you, like behind the
Oh,
chair.
yeah, that's actually a good point too. If you're just trying to chase the trends, it's like, okay, but maybe it's not what you normally do, or maybe it's not. Yeah,
Yeah,
I totally get what you're saying.
yeah.
So then I guess the question is, if visibility isn't the same as skill, what are we actually building? Let's go into that a little bit.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Audience versus career. Like, let's
Yeah.
define this pretty clearly.
So an audience is attention, right?
True, true, true. And a
Mhm.
career is built on skill, trust, and consistency.
Yeah. So there's this concept called attention economy where attention itself becomes the product. I'm just like, wow, yeah, that is where we're living right now, right? In
I
this
mean, it
world.
is, right? It is.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you think about it, like platforms reward what grabs attention quickly, not
Mhm.
actually what's sustainable.
Yeah. So you can build a following based on aesthetics or trends.
Without building the depth needed to support real clients long term.
God, yeah. Attention spikes.
And trust compounds.
Yeah. And attention gets you seen, but the trust is what keeps you getting booked.
Mm.
And that's important. I think we need to focus on that.
It's interesting because when I first started getting on social media, I was doing a lot of models, but they are by far not the majority of my clientele. So,
Yes.
maybe like I don't know, not even like 5% of my clientele are models. And like, of course, I wanted to take before and afters of them or do little videos of them because they're beautiful and it's easy to put a haircut on them and it looks great. And so it was interesting because I was like, oh, well, that's great. That can show my work in a great way. And it did for sure. But when I first started doing that, like my books weren't full. And
Mhm.
actually it was a little bit of a deterrent to some new clients. I started getting new clients that would come in and they would say, "Oh, I wasn't sure if you actually did real people's hair or you just did
Mhm.
models." And I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, that's interesting." Because that wasn't really my intention. My intention was to show these like young, beautiful girls wearing these amazing hair, like all that sort of stuff. So I do think that sometimes what you're putting online and what you are making your success look like, if you're like performing for someone or the people out, looking at your content, like, yeah, that looks great. Wow, what an amazing job. She just does models all day. Like, no, right? Like, that's not what
Yeah.
it is. And honestly,
Yeah.
the models don't pay the bills. So,
So true. It's
yeah.
so true.
So, if you want real success and really busy books, then you kind of have to put a whole bunch of different kinds of people up, right?
Yeah, it's very true. And it goes, I think, the same with like chasing the trends, right?
Mm.
If you're doing one specific haircut over and over again all the time, you're getting people that want that haircut, but it feels like it's just like a one time service and
Yeah.
not long term. Because, yes, you can create that look, but can you help them grow that out when the trend
Right.
changes, right?
Right.
Can you help them put them into something else that's more suitable for them? Like, yeah, when they decide they don't want this anymore.
Well, yeah, it was interesting. I was listening to this podcast yesterday on the way home, and it's this neuroscientist who works at Stanford. Actually, we should reach out to him. But this neuroscientist that works at Stanford, and he studies like human behavior and like all those things. And he was talking about AI and like how it will
Mhm.
never actually replace what humans do and don't do. And he said something interesting, like people are always changing and moving. There's this like easy middle space where people want something that's new, but in a familiar way. Right. So, like,
Mm.
it's interesting because they don't want to go too far new where they're like, whoa, that's too much. But in a familiar way of something that they recognize and feel comfortable with. He was talking about it in respect to like creating new music, but I actually think that's true for hair too,
Mhm.
and like
Mhm.
if people feel familiar with you online or people feel familiar with what you do, you have a little bit more of a license to create something somewhat new for them. It was on Diary of a CEO. Like it was
Yeah.
actually a really interesting
Yeah.
conversation.
Because once you build the trust, then they're more apt to be like, "Okay,
Yeah.
yeah."
Yeah. And what the other side of that is, I mean, can you think of a stylist that has a really strong career, but they're kind of more quiet online?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a good friend that I work with, and he exists online, but
Yeah.
doesn't post a single thing, and, I mean, nonstop, like 14, 15 clients a day, and
Wow.
it's insane.
Wh
People love him.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
I know, why can't that happen to me? I mean,
Totally.
secret, I think men just have it easier in this industry,
You
right?
said it, not me. We might have to have a whole episode about that, but yeah.
I think we should. I think we should.
Totally, totally. So I guess if trust is the goal, then where is it actually built? Well, when we start thinking about like the service gap, right? It's built
Yeah.
in the service.
Yeah, yeah, and like you said, this is where we're seeing the gap.
Yeah. So research on service and retention. Let's like talk about that for a second. In service based industries, retention isn't driven by the result alone.
Yeah, it's driven by the experiences, feeling
Yes.
understood, clear communication, and of course, consistency.
Yes. And clients don't just come back because their hair looked good once.
Yeah, they come back because they trust you.
And that trust is built throughout the entire appointment.
Yeah, and not just the end.
Yes. So honestly, you don't build a career in your content, you're actually building it in your chair.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm trying to think of a moment where like experience mattered more than the result. And I will say this, it always matters more than the result in my
Mhm.
chair. I think. I mean, not 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I would say, people have always been like, oh, it's 50-50, the experience they have, and 50%, like what the result is, like what their haircut is. But I actually don't think that's true. I think it's probably like 60-40 or 70-30. I think the experience is really important, especially in the economy that we're in now, in the generation that we're in now of people that are coming in. I think the experience means more than other things. So, my thought about this is a little bit like macro, right? Like, if you think about our economy right now, people don't own anything anymore. They have subscriptions. They don't actually own any movies anymore. They don't own any books anymore. They don't own any of the things that normally you would own. That compounded by like how high mortgage rates are and things like that. Like the younger generations, the 20s, 30s, and honestly the 40s, it's much longer before they're going to be buying something or buying a house
Mm,
or
mhm.
for the most part,
Mhm.
I think. With that, then what they are going to invest their money in is an experience. So
Yes.
I noticed that with my price point for where my haircuts are, it's important that they feel connected with, that they feel like they're being listened to, all of those
Mhm.
types
Mm.
of things. And I
Yeah.
do think that actually matters more than the actual end haircut at sometimes.
Yeah. And I would say, I mean, experience, I know you're speaking of the whole experience of sitting in the chair with us as stylists. And I was
Mm,
thinking about experience as far as like our experience at being stylists. I was just thinking the whole time about how having the experience, it helps you manage expectations, right? So if you don't have the solid experience, like how do you manage people's expectations behind the chair?
right.
And this leads into my next story about communication. Somebody coming in and has total different expectations for what they want with their hair, right?
Yeah.
And because of your experience, that their lifestyle, their hair type, texture, density will not support this style that they're asking for.
Ah,
It's your job to communicate and to manage their expectations and say, hey, look, maybe this is not the best situation for you. Maybe we need to move you into something more like this that's going to be more suitable for you and your lifestyle and what you're going to do with your hair and how you're going to manage it. Right.
yeah. Yeah.
So that's really, really important.
Would you say that I don't know, I think about when I was a new stylist and it was like, "Oh, yeah, sure, we can do that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah." It was a lot of that, right? When
Oh,
I
yeah.
stopped doing that, my retention actually got better. Would you say you had a similar experience?
100%. Yes. Because you're actually being honest with people. You're not just giving
Yeah.
them what they want.
Yeah.
Like, people wanna know
Think
what they can and can't have. I think you're better off telling somebody no if it's not possible than
yeah.
saying yes and then saying yes all the time.
Yeah. Because it's probably not gonna work out if you say yes.
Mm-mm,
Yeah.
mm-mm.
That's so crazy. And, I do think there's actually another layer to this.
Yeah, a lot of styles are building identity around content, not the craft.
Yeah. So skill development requires deep focus.
Yeah. And when your attention is split between performing and improving,
You slow down your growth,
yeah, and you might look advanced online.
but feel really, really like uncertain or, scared or hesitant in real life.
Yeah. I
Can you
mean,
think
that's
of a time where, I don't know, you focused on appearance like over function?
I mean, sure. I feel like it happens a lot throughout the day. And I mean, if we're going to go back to trends, like those yeses slip into your day
Sure.
sometimes. You do want to be like, okay, well, let's try this. And, you feel uncertain and it's uncomfortable and you feel sitting in it because you know it's not right, but you're like trying to please somebody and you're trying to
Mm.
be maybe creative or try something new, but it just falls flat. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes it works out, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think about it like this. If you're trying to like copy something else and you're focused on the appearance, it's actually pretty basic work at that point because you're basically sketching what someone else has created on another person, right? But if you're actually thinking about function and building something from scratch, then that actually like maintains itself over like, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months and holds up, right? So instead of trying to like copy something, I guess I think about it like clothes, right? Like you'll see these beautiful couture gowns, like the Met Gala just happened. And the construction of those gowns are, I mean, they hold up, right? But
Mhm,
then when you
mhm.
look at like, I don't know, maybe a Timu or TikTok shop tries to like copy it, they're really just looking at the appearance of something and it all falls apart. Like the seams aren't done well and all of a sudden something's ripping and it doesn't quite fit your body. It's the same
Mhm.
thing with hair, you know?
So
So
true.
I don't know. I always pick
It's
function over that. Yeah.
same, because 'cause I'll get into the feeling a little bit of
Mm,
it. Like, when I'm working and I'm in my flow and I'm trusting my gut, it feels good, right?
yeah. Yeah.
But when I try to copy something that somebody else does, or it's like painted by numbers, right? You're trying to put this
Yeah.
on somebody else. I inside feel so icky. I
Mm,
don't know. Have you ever experienced that where you're just like, oh my God,
yeah.
this doesn't feel right. This is the wrong texture for the wrong look.
Yeah.
Or just in my head, in my whole body, I'm like, oh, like, stop.
Yeah. And we gotta pay attention to that, right? And, like,
Yes.
that's tricky. That's tricky because you're
Hmm.
in it at the moment, but for the next time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I think sometimes when you actually step back for a second, I know it's like more, 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 put up more content, be authentic, do all the things, blah, 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 right? But actually, when you step back from the content, things actually change in your career. So I want to say that when you put the camera down, when you stop making the goal about creating content or appealing to your audience or things like that, and actually are 100% focused and like
What
attuned
happened?
to your client, you're actually being of service to them, things change. Things slow down, things
Hmm.
calmer, your lungs feel like they can get fuller, your shoulders
Hmm.
drop, and you're
Hmm.
really, like you said, in your flow, right?
Hmm.
And that is something that, like, A, helps you grow faster, B, makes you understand things to a deeper level, and C, like, it really helps you to retain those clients because you're paying close attention to them. And I
Yeah.
really think there's a time to make content. Like, if that's your goal, then everyone needs to be on board with that's your goal, right? Like, maybe
Hmm.
you have someone
Hmm.
in and you'd say, hey, I really want to cut your hair for this. I'm going to have someone film, blah, 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 right? That's one thing. If you are with a client, like that needs to be another thing. You can't have the same goal for both. It just doesn't work like that.
I mean, when I do that in the salon and I create content in the salon, it's the same
Mm,
thing. I feel like I'm out of body. Like,
yeah.
how can I focus on the client experience when I'm focused on creating content and doing something else? I love that you said that. It's two separate things.
I mean, it is, right? I don't care what they say about multitasking and having several goals for one thing. When you're doing something with your hands, there's one goal. So pick which one you want it to be.
Yeah.
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 So,
100%.
what do you think it actually looks like to build a career?
Well, it's foundational, right? It's not
Mm,
flashy.
mm. And it's how you consult, right? Like, that's a big
Yeah.
part of it.
Oh, huge. And it's how you listen
How you manage expectations.
and how you consistently deliver.
Yeah. And this is exactly why we've built a new class that we're coming out with shortly. It's called Of Service.
Yeah, because most education focuses on the result, right?
Yeah. Or maybe they focus on a technique.
But not the experience of actually doing someone's hair.
Yeah. So I don't know. We've been talking about what to call this, and I don't think it's like just a class, it's an educational experience.
And we're really intentional about how we built it. We studied how people actually learn, drawing from frameworks developed by top learning scientists.
And then what we did is we grounded that research that we found at these traditional academic places with years of real experience behind the chair to create something that's actually usable.
Because this isn't just information.
It's a system that translates directly into your day to day work. So, what we're doing, we're actually like slowing the entire service down
From how someone finds you online
to how you communicate with them throughout the entire service,
to how you approach the actual haircut.
and then how you reflect afterwards so that you can actually grow.
Yeah, because being of service isn't just about being nice,
Or just about being technically good.
it's about attuning to the person who is in front of you
It's understanding what they need
and adjusting in real time to meet them there.
instead of just showing up with a skill.
And service level hospitality.
Right? Like, it's actually not just doing hair on someone, but being truly of service to them.
Yeah.
Can you think of when you realized the difference between doing a service and being of service?
Well, I mean, yeah, multiple times. You can greet somebody and not connect with them, right? I can think of an example like where I've come to work and something's in my head, and maybe I'm going through something personal and I'm just not present.
Yeah.
Those are usually the times when I go through my day and I'm not asking questions. I'm not asking people if they want something to drink. I am not communicating efficiently. And I feel like those are the days that I get those text messages and emails that are like, oh, something feels off,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, yeah, duh, because I wasn't even there in the room with these people. I was in my
Yeah.
head
Yeah.
because I had something going on at home or I didn't feel good or whatever it is. I didn't leave my shit at the door when I came to work.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, putting out fires for the next week.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I get it. I've done the exact same thing where you're just like, I can't fucking do this today.
Mm,
And, we have a very interesting job in that, like, to really be of service to someone, it's this loop of like, I'm going to provide this skill, I'm going to provide this service, then I'm going to provide hospitality. But if you really want to keep it, it's really about being attuned and of service to someone.
mhm,
And I do think we start our careers just giving services to people or different haircuts or whatever. But as those things become more automatic and you become more fluent in your actual skill set, then that opens up this space to be
mhm,
of service to someone.
yeah,
And, it's not perfect every time, right? Like, it's definitely not that. There's some days that are hard and some days that aren't, but I do think, the research that we've done over the past couple years and what we've decided to share in this upcoming education experience, I do think learning how to actually do that can get you out of those funks,
Mm,
and get you in a place where you
definitely.
are attuned with your clients in like a very safe, but with boundaries and all the blah, 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 all the things, right?
100%.
Yeah, but I will say, like, doing a service is fine, but being of service is amazing. And,
Yeah.
like, that's when it's doing the thing. You're doing the amazing thing. It feels like you're, you know, winning a game. It feels like
Mhm.
you're really present. Like, maybe it's something that you feel like you had a really great workout class. That same feeling that you get with that, you could get that every 45 minutes with a haircut, you know?
Yeah, and this is where
Um,
you're building, you're building your career here in this space.
yeah, and it's a muscle just like anything else. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm really excited to share that with everyone.
definitely, same. But let's be clear here, there's nothing wrong with building an audience.
No, definitely not. But here's the thing, if it's not backed by real skill and service, it's not going to hold up because eventually people are going to come in
Yeah, and imagine a world where you don't feel burnt out.
where you're actually not second guessing like every single decision.
Yeah, where your work feels intentional and clear.
Ugh, and your days actually slow down. Even as you get busier, it feels like you're more present and that they go a little bit slower,
Yeah, and they feel more fulfilled.
maybe more confident.
Yeah, and better at your craft.
That's what we're building, right?
Yes, yes. And we can help you get there.
Woo woo. All right. So listen, if this episode hit hard, send it to someone in your salon.
Yeah, more information about Of Service, our educational experience, will be launching on our website by the end of May.
So head on over to itsthebreakroom.org so that you can be ready for that. Or,
Yes.
we'll be putting out more information as it comes up.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, listen, guys, thanks for joining us here on Hair Smarter. Of course, share, like, subscribe, all the things. Anytime you can subscribe or like one of our videos, it actually helps us to push it out to more people. So thank you so much for your support. And we love you, and we're Hair Smarter. And
We'll
yeah,
see you next time.
sounds good. Bye.
Bye.